Now, our next guest earned $50 million a year. In fact, I was reading here, $13 million in 3 minutes. That's not bad. He racked up $700,000 bar tabs, owned a 50-metre yacht. Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, had quite a life, but it all came crashing down. It led to jail, but Jordan's made a big comeback, and his life is being turned into a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Let's look back. I've read your books, and I still can't get my head around the life that you led. How young were you? How much money were you earning? And how badly behaved were you?
I was a bad boy. I think I looked pretty good considering all the drugs I consumed back in the day. I'm sober for, I think, so it's 15, 16 years now. So, but listen, back then, I mean, as you said, you know, $700,000 hotel tabs, yachts which I sunk, planes which I crashed, and eventually went to jail and, you know, lost my way. And thankfully, you know, when I was in jail, my bunkmate was, believe it or not, Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. Of all people.
Way.
Yeah, I was sober, and they put me with the biggest pothead in the world, right? So, you know, we would tell each other stories each night. And he said, you got to write a book about your life, and that's how it all started. So I wrote this book, and I think what happened was in the book, you know, there was some things in terms of the business and the sales side of some systems I created, and that led to a career as a speaker around the world. But, I mean, the ultimate shock was that before I was even finished writing it, it became a bidding war in Hollywood, and Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt wanted to play me in the movie, and I ended up selling it to Leo. And it actually got made. So now the movie's coming out in November this year, with Leo starring and Jonah Hill as one of the secondary roles, and Matthew McConaughey, and also a native Australian girl, Margot Robbie, plays my ex-wife. So I think it should be a pretty amazing movie.
Brilliant. Well, I couldn't quite believe how crazy life was every day for you back then. You were high as a kite. Flying your own chopper, crashing into your backyard.
My own chopper, yeah.
And you did crash your Gulfstream and sink your boat.
Hot chopper, boat, Gulfstream, yeah. I traveled badly, I guess you could say. So I'm a good risk right now because I'm pre-disastered when I travel. But most of that stuff was all fueled by drugs. I would, like to fly when I was high, and it seemed like more challenging that way. And, I took the yacht out into the ocean when I was, sort of in some weird, drug-induced movement phase. I couldn't sit still. So, yeah. But listen, my life, of course, is very, very different now. Now I'm like a normal, everyday person. But I go around the world. What I really do, and I love doing, is I really work with entrepreneurs and salespeople, and I train them in a system I invented called the straight line, which really helps them become much more effective at closing and presenting and raising money for entrepreneurs, whatever it might be.
Before you bounce back in that way, what was the intervening time between the crazy years and the comeback? Were there really low moments, or
unbelievably low? Yeah, I mean, I would say there was a couple of lows, and then just when I thought I couldn't go lower, I got lower still. And I think the first one was when I got sober. And I just my main drug of choice was called Quaaludes, right, which is a down. Then I switched to cocaine, and that I just went nuts. And I had this, terrible breakdown. Ended up 4 weeks in rehab. Then I never relapsed after that, but that was sort of a low point. I was building back, and then all of a sudden I got indicted for things I had done many years prior, and the past caught up with me. And then I ended up going to jail, losing all my money, my family for a time, my self-respect. It was unbelievably terrible. But I think the message to people, and this is, I think, what's pretty inspiring about the story and the movie, is that no matter how bad your life is, no matter what you've done wrong in the past, if you're willing to flip that and put one foot in front of the other, you can totally change it up immediately and take that negative and turn it into a huge positive. So
it must be quite extraordinary now to be looking at Leonardo DiCaprio playing you and seeing some of those crazy times come to life again. Is it surreal?
It is surreal. I mean, I worked really closely with Leo on the actual, the writing of the dialogue to make sure that it was authentic. And he's a very committed guy. I mean, like, we tortured ourselves over every single word. So I'm sure people are going to really love the movie when it comes out. And there's some great scenes of him, like with the sales stuff. It's really, really cool.
The Wolf of Wall Street is one of the coolest nicknames that I've ever heard in my life. Do you wear that moniker with pride?
I like to think I'm the tamed wolf these days. And like, the wolf has got some really great aspects to him. And the wolf had some really negative aspects. The positive aspects were a drive and this desire to make money and to empower other people to make money and to shape the world the way I want it. The negative was the wolf back in the day lacked ethics. And the message that I give to people now is, making money without ethics and integrity is failure into itself. So, it's not about just making as much as you can, as fast as you can. It's about also empowering other people and doing it the right way. So that's a huge part of the message. And the original Wolf got that wrong. And today, I'm almost crazed about that whole aspect of ethics to make sure that when I teach, because, the system I teach for sales and influence is very powerful. And people can use it for bad stuff if they want. You want to manipulate. But I caution people, and that's why my life represents this sort of warning in some level, that if you take a skill and misuse it, you're going to end up like I did, losing everything and in jail. But if you do things the right way and empower people, your life will be wonderful.
It must have been extraordinary to be a young man, to have no limits and to just go completely mad. Obviously, that didn't lead to a great place, and we'd warn kids not to do that at home.
It was fun in the beginning, but it turned really, really toxic, yeah.
What do you do now to let your hair down, to let loose? Is there anything that you do that's a little bit wild?
Listen, I love sports. I've done work with the Melbourne Storm, and I've done some speaking for the Storm and some of the Western Force out in Perth, and I play a lot of tennis and golf and stuff. But listen, I don't party anymore. I don't drink a lot. I never take drugs. But I'm a different guy. But to me, the charge I get is I do these huge seminars. Right? I go around the world, and I have like a couple of thousand people in a room. And then I'm feeding off of the energy, and that to me, that's where I really get my high these days. I love what I do, but I can't do the whole party thing anymore,
No, well, you have to take it
easy.
easy.
Like 9 lives, I have 8 are done. I only have 1 left, so,
Yes, exactly. So you be careful when the premiere comes out, and you're out there in Hollywood. You celebrate with a cup of tea.
Yeah. No, I'll drink a beer or a glass of wine. I just, I'm not taking 10 pills on top of it, though. That was my,
That's where you draw the line.
I could take a lot I was really good at that. I was like another talent I have. I could consume. I'm not a big guy, right? I'm like maybe like 75 kilos. I can consume more drugs than like 5 Navy SEALs combined and just walk around. You think I was totally normal. But you give me a little bit of alcohol, I'm out for the count.
Okay, well, glass of champagne, that's it for you. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
All right, what do you think there, Cam?
Well, the Labrador of Wall Street, it doesn't have the same ring, but it's got a bigger upside, right?
The puppy.
That's a movie I'd watch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great story. Good stuff. Now...